My name is Detective Pierce. Trouble doesn't always wait in alleys or abandoned houses. Sometimes it hides beneath bright lights and loud music. I hadn't planned on working that night. A friend had convinced me to attend a concert, an old theater packed with people, the stage glowing red with floodlights, the crowd swaying to the pounding rhythm of distorted guitars. For once, I thought I might let the noise drown out the darker things that follow me. But halfway through the set, something shifted. The music faltered, the guitars screamed, cutting short like a throat being closed. The singer's voice stretched unnaturally, twisting into a low moan that rattled the chandeliers above. The crowd clapped and cheered, thinking it part of the act. But I knew the sound of fear when I heard it. The lights flickered. Red became crimson, thick, almost liquid. And then I saw it, shadows pooling beneath the stage, moving against the grain of the spotlights, curling upward like smoke made of flesh. The band froze, their eyes wide, instruments hanging slack in their hands. The crowd began to scream. I moved toward the stage, pushing through the panic, as the theater's walls groaned with a sound like 100 voices whispering at once. The curtain swelled outward, as though something behind it was breathing. And when it tore open, the real performance began. The curtain split with a violent snap, dust and velvet scattering into the air. What crawled from behind was not a stagehand or a trick of light. It was something that shouldn't have been able to fit in the narrow space behind the drapes. It was tall, skeletal, its limbs stretched unnaturally long. Where a face should have been, there was only a blank mask, white and cracked like porcelain, with a thin slit where a mouth might once have been. From that slit came the sound, the distorted moan that had warped the singer's voice. It mimicked, replaying the last lyrics sung, but deeper, wrong, stretched into a funeral chant. The audience panicked. People surged toward the exits, but the theater doors slammed shut with a thunderous bang. The chandeliers swayed violently, raining dust and fragments of glass. The thing on stage raised its arms, and the amplifiers screamed, not music, but a shriek so sharp I felt my teeth ache. I forced my way forward, climbing onto the stage where the band had huddled in the corner, pale with terror. The singer stammered, "It wasn't us. It was never us. They said it would stay asleep." Before I could press him, the creature lashed out. One arm extended like a whip, striking the floorboards, splintering the wood. From the cracks beneath the stage, black liquid oozed, bubbling and hissing as it spread. The crowd's screams blurred into a single, chaotic roar. The air grew thick, suffocating, as if every breath I took belonged to the thing instead of me. That's when I noticed something, etched into the floor at the creature's feet. Symbols. Old, jagged runes carved into the wood, glowing faintly red beneath the black ooze. This wasn't random. This stage was a trap, or maybe a cage. And now the cage was breaking. I tightened my coat, pulled the small revolver I carry, and muttered to myself, "This isn't music. This is a ritual." I steadied myself as the thing lurched closer, its mask tilting unnaturally, as though it could see me without eyes. The guttural voice spilling from its slit of a mouth echoed across the theater, warped fragments of lyrics turned into curses. The black ooze spread wider across the stage, burning holes into the floorboards, hissing like acid. The audience pounded on the doors, trapped like cattle, their fear feeding the air until I could almost taste it. That's when it struck me, the ritual needed them. A crowd. A performance. An offering of voices and fear. The singer stumbled toward me, clutching his chest. "We didn't mean for it to happen again," he whispered, his words trembling. "The old manager found the script, the score. He made us play it. He said it would make us famous." The score. A cursed composition. The melody itself wasn't music, it was an invocation. I crouched by the runes on the floor, my hand brushing against the faintly glowing carvings. They were smeared with blood, fresh blood. Likely from one of the musicians, binding the ritual with their performance. The creature shrieked, its voice warping into a sick harmony with the feedback of the amplifiers. The chandeliers swung violently now, as though the theater itself was trembling. I realized quickly, killing it wasn't possible. It wasn't flesh, but sound and shadow given form. The only way to end it was to silence it, break the ritual. I shouted to the band. The instruments, destroy them! Smash the amps! They hesitated, terror freezing them, but when the creature's whip-like arm lashed out and nearly split one of them in half, they obeyed. Guitars shattered, drums toppled, cables yanked free. The amplifiers screeched their last and fell silent. The thing screamed, not in rage but in fear. Its body faltered, its arms twitching erratically as the sound feeding it died away. I drew my revolver, aimed at the glowing runes, and fired. The wood cracked, the symbols splintered, and the red light beneath them guttered out. The black ooze hissed louder, retreating back into the cracks. The mask of the creature split down the center with a deafening shriek, fragments flying like shards of bone. Its body convulsed once, then collapsed inward, vanishing into itself until nothing remained but silence. The chandeliers stilled. The air cleared. The theater doors groaned open as if nothing had ever held them shut. The audience staggered into the night, gasping, crying, not daring to look back. The band huddled together, pale and broken, the singer weeping into his hands. I holstered my revolver, staring down at the shattered stage. Whatever this was, it hadn't been born tonight. The score was old, perhaps older than the theater itself. And someone had chosen to play it again. I muttered to myself as I stepped out into the cool night air. Fame, fortune, applause, always the same bait. And always the same price. Another case closed. But I couldn't shake the echoes still lingering in my ears, the last, distorted note of a song not meant for human voices.